Hello. Today we're going to discuss the topic of the ego and its relationship with anxiety.
Yes, it's a very good topic because the ego is the cause of your anxiety. The ego is our personality structure or our mind. A person can identify his ego by listening his mind. So that voice in our heads that always talk is the ego. So if one has an anxious personality, that voice in your head will speak about anxious things, situations, fears, anxious thoughts.
And that voice also dictates our behavior, right?
Yes, of course, yes, because our behaviors are accordingly to our thoughts. For example, if someone has social phobia, he will avoid social situations. So in this case, yes, the behavior, which is evitation, is caused by that fearful thought. Avoidance. Yes.
And you say that the ego creates anxiety.
Yes.
So what can you do to eliminate anxiety?
It's a very good question, and the answer is simple: to stop that ego to speak, or to silence that ego.
Because people, as they can notice for themselves, are unable to stop that voice in their head, that thinking that goes on and on.
Yeah, this is a big issue because that minds talk a lot. But with some good practices that we teach people, that voice in our heads can be silenced and can be transcended. So we talk about silencing that voice and going further to transcending that voice. So someone will live only from the state of pure silence, and he will use his mind as a mechanism. So for example, now when I'm speaking to you, I use my mind. But when I stop talking, I live only in silence. I don't hear any thought in my mind. So my mind is empty. Yes.
So you say that it's possible to live without thinking.
Yes. Yes, because thinking is only a mechanism. But people confuse this thinking with themselves, and they think that their thoughts, or you think your thoughts, are real. That's why you live with anxiety, depression, insomnia, and also psychosis.
Because it can get to that point where anxiety can lead to psychosis and even worse, right?
Yes. So this is the starting point. People should know that ego can be silenced, and anxiety, and in this way, or I can say that this is the only way to fully treat anxiety, to overcome anxiety once and for all.
So how can you do this? How can you silence the ego?
That ego survives when our attention is in our mind.
Why is that?
It is used to stay there. Let's take, for example, a newborn baby has no ego. It is only perception, pure perception. So a newborn baby doesn't have that voice in his head that talks a lot about everything. So he just discovers the reality. But afterwards, he identifies himself with the body, with his form, and he will absorb any information
from
around himself. Yes. So in this way, his mind is formed, and the ego or the personality is entirely learned.
So at that point, the child is totally identified with the voice in his head, and that's where the trouble starts, let's say.
Yes, because he loses touch with the present moment. You can see this at a child. Their look is like they are continuously amazed of everything they see, because their attention is fully here. So their eyes are open wide because their attention is there on the present moment, and they see all the visual field. But afterwards the attention goes in our minds, and this is the mechanism that creates that mental flow. And the people in adulthood, they see only like 10% of the present moment.
Because people can see only one object at a time, right?
Yes. So they don't see the full HD image. They only see 5% the object they look at.
And the rest of person's attention goes to thinking, right?
Yes. So their attention is dissociated. A part is where they look, and more than 80% of people's attention is in that mental flow.
And that's why people usually misinterpret the present. For example, if someone is in a crowd and they hear somebody laughing, they will think that the person laughs at them, right?
Yes.
So this is a distortion which occurs with anxious people, right?
Yes. Yes. This is the mechanism. So you asked me how we treat anxiety, and by correcting this attention problem.
So when you're with your full attention in the present moment, in let's say the same scenario, you won't interpret that laughter as being the fact that they laugh at you. You'll just take it as laughter, and that's it. Well, if you put it like this, treating anxiety seems pretty simple.
Yes, it's not hard, but implies working with your attention. It implies practicing.
So you don't have to understand lots of theory, or you don't have to discuss your past, or I don't know, anything that is wrong with your personality and try to correct it. You just have to correct your attention, right?
Yes, because by correcting the attention, the pattern of thinking will be automatically corrected to live accordingly in the present moment.
So even if you have some personality issues, by correcting your attention, they will automatically be corrected.
Yes, of course. Yes. So this is the most effective method to treat also on the personality level, and of course on the emotional level. Anxiety symptoms can be easily eliminated, but in order to be fully treated, you have to correct also the mind. So the thinking, the pattern of thinking.
And what does this imply?
To live only with the attention in the present moment, and for a period of time, like for 2 or 3 weeks, I work with my clients, and I also correct them, first of all through correcting their attention, and then through discussing some issues. Yes.
What kind of issues can appear?
Living in the present moment is a process. You have to learn how to put your attention here entirely, because as you can notice, attention goes very easily in the mind. So the person loses the attention easily. So it implies practices, correcting, and also can appear different questions in this process, like what is this, am I doing right, some body sensations, different kind of questions, because each person is different. So it is a process, and you have to guide a person for a while till the person will be on his own and will learn how to silence or how to stop his mind.
Did you ever work with severe cases of anxiety, with panic
Yes.
attacks, for example?
Yes, because most of the cases are severe ones. People come to me when they are in severe anxiety, because till then they hope that anxiety will be eliminated by itself. But it's not the case, because if you don't treat anxiety, it gets worse. So that's why most of the people look for help in severe cases, with panic attacks, also depression, insomnia, and of course psychosis. Yes.
And they cannot be corrected, right?
Yes. Yes. With these practices, of course.
Do you recommend that people would try to resolve their anxieties when it isn't that severe yet?
Yes, of course, from the first symptoms, because it won't be that hard. It will be quite easy if you have a few symptoms, or if you just want to learn how to live from the state of silence.
Do you also have clients who just want to learn the present moment without being anxious?
Yes, I do have, because people recognize that mental noise is disturbing and it is stressful. Yes, people come to me to just empty their minds and learn how to live from silence. So this is the next step in psychology. Psychology is not about treating illnesses, but to live from here, from serenity, from silence, from this state of joy, and to learn how to tell this difference between your mind and life. And from here, you will learn how to use your mind when is needed, and of course when not, how to rest in silence, because silence is your nature, not that mental noise, that buzzing.